What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hopefully you can hear me clear. Yeah, we're looking at sequencing today. We've been looking at other things lately, and the things we've been looking at have been a lot about the operating system of teenage engineering. But today, I thought we would talk about theory in how I write a lot of the music that I write. Brand new project there. Brand new pattern. Got some patterns stored, so there we go. Clear everything so the sequences are cleared. I make these guys, what is it, 64 step. In the Electron world, that's like function page. In the TE world, that is bar number 4. So number 1, when I make sequences, the length of the bar is kind of important because that tells me like how much time am I going to put into the sequencer. And these guys, it's here. And again, inside of the TE, it is the bar. Where am I in the bar? So when I start writing, I start thinking kind of this organized ordinance. And I would say the reason I do this is because it gives me a base of where to start when I start sequencing, right? And so with sequencer theory, and I said this yesterday, I try not to overlap these instruments. So I try not to have like a ton of drums, double the bass, I try to do one of each. And I try to do one of each well. Okay, so when you're writing music, some students say to me, well, you write loops really good. And I said, well, I practice a lot, so practice is, of course, what makes us really good at what we do, right? And then it's like, well, when I make drums, I got to pick a genre. So it's like, okay, I get it. There has to be genre, a tempo. I even like picking the key signature now, you know what I mean? Because then I know what I'm going to play over, I would also say style, of the genre, because you can do happy drum and bass, you can do sad drum and bass, you emotional this, you can do a ton of different ways of conveying your emotions. And I like kind of thinking about that when we're around the drum pattern, because by the time we go to make the bass, we would need to know a lot of this. And the bass is me thinking about like a melodic run or the foundation of melody. Okay, so the chords might help write that. Sometimes that's in the lead. And secretly, I was waiting for us to be together to tell you guys that this is kind of the heart of what you do. Because like the chords and the bass line all are helping this melodic idea if we're talking about techno. Now in pop music, the melody is there, but instead of these guys, it might just be drums, bass, melody, singer, right? Where words are easier to convey a message. Where in techno, we have not a hard time, but we have to pick that in the chords that we choose. Because if the chords are very major, I dare do it. It's just such a common progression, right? The 1, the 4, the 5. But if we start making music, that has this other sound, minor has a different emotional feel. So we kind of want to think of that while we're making the music, right? And then as I start my sequences, this guy always has the most annoying click in the world, so I turn it off. And I usually start with the kick drums. Lately, I've been putting the snare a little early. Right. So kick and snare here. I usually go to my Electron world to do hi-hats, right? And that's what I did yesterday. You have volume control, everything. You got mutes. I probably have mutes on too, you know? Yeah. All right, so there's a hi-hat. Right, and now, like, deciding on what instrument to put the bass on, my Digitone is usually for chords. This is a polysynth. It does 8 voices. So I could do, you know, there's 4 tracks, and then the other 4 MIDI side controls the modular. And this is where I decide where I'm going to make the bass. Typically, it's on the .com or the modular in front of you, the Eurorack. And so I could easily just pick, you know, and I know I'm on MIDI 1, which is the .com. So I just picked D minor to make it super easy, right? It's monophonic. We're getting bass out of a modular, right? And now, you see how I'm kind of tacking through these, right? Now, I do this when I write music. It's very natural for me to do it. And I would say to anybody who's new to writing into sequencers, when you watch your friends that are really, you know, fast at sequencing, it's because they do this all the time, right? They just write parts. I'm going to go turn down the .com. Sorry, it's just a little. Okay, so now you get your elements going, and this is where it's nice to start messing with chords. Because in the end, you find in maybe a couple cool chords that go with it. And this is my Juno 106 sound. I kind of jokingly say that, but it's an FM synth. It can make just regular saw squares. And to me, the filter in the Electron world has a nice kind of sound, right? So I'm going to get ready. Just D minor. And maybe like a C minor or major. Right? Right? Couple chords, right? And it's just D minor and C major are the 2 chords I used, right? And now I got some chords going. And then I usually filter down that a little bit so it's not so dominant in the mix. Okay, so frequency-wise, let's talk about this. Drums, of course, kick, snare, hi-hat, they take up their frequency ranges. The bass line is my lowest octave right now. This is maybe like an octave or 2 above it. That leaves the space in between for the melody, right? Or the lead, right? And we can interchange the 2. I think that's why I like having the amount of tracks I have available, right? And if I was thinking, you know, I want this to be over the course of 4 bars, I'm over on here. I can also do this over the course of 8 bars, right? So let's do it over 8 bars, ready? Hit record. Here we go. And that's it. Now, the theory in me writing that was just pentatonic. I avoided 2 notes. There's only 5 notes in that scale, and they are the minor pentatonica D. Right? So I add a little bit of delay. And I consider, you know, this could be lead or melody. This is what's driving the song, right? Right. And then what I start to think about is the chorus, the break, the solo. Now, not to joke, a break is as easy as getting rid of the drums, right? And we know that in the techno world, right? And sometimes that's getting rid of a little bit of the lead. You hear it go away. And this is an easy way for us to make a break. So making a break, you don't have to really, but a chorus, we have to kind of rethink parts, right? We'd have to think of, you know, something completely different, right? And in this world, I can make pages or clips. And in this world, I'd have to make either a new pattern, or I actually just use another track. So if I muted the original chords and I just loaded that same thing there, and now I'm thinking chorus, right? So E minor, watch this, where we're gonna get crazy. And that means the bass line is going to have to change for the chorus, right? And hold on a second, we're going to... Okay, so I reset the clocks, I go to my bass. We're going to write the bass now. Ready? Wait a second. Are we in a key, actually? Because I wrote it on these chords, remember? So if we're in the key of D minor, so I write that, right? Try to get that lined up. So now that's showing you I should write the bass over here, because I wasn't liking that in that sequence, huh? It's the swing. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go back to my .com. I already know I'm going there. I'm just going to lower the brightness of that chord. So this is my chorus now. Just like a completely different line, right? So it's similar keys. I know that took me a minute to get there, right? I mean, we're at like 17 minutes. It wasn't terribly long. But now you guys are seeing the idea of what parts do you work on when you're playing with sequencers, right? Sometimes it takes a minute. Sometimes certain things don't line up, right? And now I also could start thinking of set of strings. Fourths I'm playing over here. So it's the drums and the strings, the bass is the .com, and the cool melody thing is the Juno 101 sound I got going here, right? I mean, these are all great ideas as far as how we glue sequencers together, right? And now if I want to play lead, and that would be if I had this routed right. Let me make sure. Yep, I know better. Pretty much that easy, right? But this is where I say breaking down what you're working on into categories. Let's talk about what we did today. I'm going to give like a kind of wrap up, and we're going to look at like, again, when I started with drums, I was in my conceptual phase of thinking of the song. So I think of genre, I think of tempo, I think of the key signature that I'm going to play in, right? I also think of the style, like melodically, the foundation of that melody. Is it going to be happy? Is it going to be sad? Because that's what allows us to pick the chords and the bass, right? And then inside of that, drums, bass, the chords is like that foundation. The melody or the lead is basically the voice in techno. It's the talking, right? Now, if we were making pop music, we might substitute this for a singer or some words, or the singer might be singing with a melody. You never know. And the other couple concepts I wrote down here are things for you to kind of cover as you're finishing what you're writing. The chorus is always in mind. That's going to be that subtle change that is like where the name of the song repeats, or, you know, the idea or the theme of the song really is in the chorus. The break itself might be somewhere where drums disappear, where things go away and things come back. And the solo is where someone with instrumentation gets to practice over top of what they're doing. So when I teach a lot of my lessons, the idea that you're thinking in this structure, and even if you write it down on a piece of paper to help yourself, because you can take a bunch of notes about what you're doing on your song. So this, truth be told, is a little notebook. Oh, it has like manuals and different ideas for key signatures and things like that. So I keep a pretty cheap notebook that I can just ruin and write with a marker, and that I really don't care about the pages at my table. And I would say to anybody that's writing music, you want to have a good notebook at the table that you're writing with, so that you have a spot to, you know, write your ideas and kind of draw things out, have a roadmap. The dorkier side of me also has like instruction manuals from different modules that I'm using. So this will help me along the way. I have PDFs on my phone of manuals. So I always tell people the manuals of the gear that you're using, I find to be 100% important. So if somebody's wondering, well, how do you know these boxes so well? I've been sequencing since the 90s. But I know all the manuals of these really well, so I study the manuals. I can always teach anybody on Electron or on, you know, the teenage engineering stuff. I teach modular clinics. I do clinics on Ableton Live. So, you know, we're here, the channel's here to help, more or less. So that's kind of where today's lesson was. It was hopefully to give you an idea on how I write with sequencers, maybe the ordinance and the notebook style of what I'm thinking of. I showed everybody me writing a track to kind of get you just in the mood to maybe write. And hopefully you're going to have a good Saturday where you get to sit and channel good energy and make music and have a good time. So I hope everyone's enjoying the channel. I hope you like the videos. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I'm here. I'm releasing some new sample packs today in wave form. So anybody who wants things outside of Ableton Live packs, those releases are coming out today. And like I said, be creative, go out there and make some music.